Hi, everyone. We continue to follow breaking news here on Live Impact News. I'm Vanessa Rufus. Right now, we are monitoring a feed out of Salisbury, North Carolina, where at any moment we expect officials to take a podium and give an update on an explosion that happened at a home just before 5 o'clock, an explosion which caused a roof to collapse and also injured 11 firefighters. You're looking at the latest update from Salisbury Fire. They did put it out on their Facebook page, but they are promising in just a few moments an in-person update with reporters we can see gathering at this firehouse that is nearby, where officials are going to tell us more. But you can see preliminary information. Fire reported just around 5 o'clock. They arrived within 4 minutes. Very, very heavy fire conditions as they kind of describe it here. There was a gas line that exploded inside the residence that compromised the structure integrity, and then the roof collapsed. And so they say that because of the explosion, these 11 firefighters were injured. They did not elaborate on their conditions, only to say they had to go to the hospital for treatment, and they will be giving more information. Speaking of which, we are working to see if we can get that feed. I think it's coming. Bear with us, please. I do see what looks to be an official there. Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and listen in. Once again, Salisbury, North Carolina, Salisbury Fire Department giving us an update on this house explosion where 11 firefighters were injured.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for your concern for the firefighters and the residents of Salisbury. I'm Bob Parnell, I'm the fire chief here in Salisbury, P-A-R-N-E-L-L, the last name. The Salisbury Fire Department was dispatched to a house fire. The address was 1143 Laurel Street at 4:56 p.m. this afternoon. Firefighters arrived on the scene within 4.5 minutes and found a well-involved single-family, single-story residential house well involved to the rear. So there's a lot of fire coming up when they got there. And they went into a working fire mode and also an offensive search mode. That's where the firefighters go in to extinguish the fire, and their primary mission is get water on the fire and search for any occupants. While they were inside that fire, during this offensive attack, something exploded. An unknown source of explosion happened in the house. It was enough force that the outside walls blew out, the roof came up and went back down, and the firefighters inside had, while they were heroically searching for the house, had received injuries typical of stuff falling on them, around them, and at them, right, being projected at them. We immediately went into Mayday mode. That is a planned, trained, exact procedure when something happens of this nature. They Mayday. Firefighters rescued other firefighters. The rapid intervention team activated, pulled firefighters out. As a result of that explosion inside this house, 11 firefighters were transported to local hospitals, some to Rowan and some to Northeast Medical Center in Cabarrus County. 11 firefighters of Salisbury were transported and treated. One also from Spencer Fire Department who was on the scene assisting us. Glad to report, I'm elated to report that none of the injuries were life-threatening. Some firefighters are being treated for contusions, concussions, and smoke inhalation because while they were wearing their mask, the concussion blew the mask off their face. None of them are life-threatening. In fact, we just visited Rowan Regional Medical Center and visited with the firefighters there. They are all in good spirits. Some of them have already been released. And we suspect all will be released tonight. Not sure about the firefighters in Concord. We will be reporting down there to Northeast Medical Center after this news conference to check on them. Although I do want you to know that the chaplains of the Salisbury Fire Department thankfully are at the hospital, both hospitals, monitoring their conditions and feeding information back and forth to me and our staff. I want to thank the various agencies across Rowan County who are assisting us. They're assisting us on the scene. They're assisting us at the fire stations, filling the fire stations, keeping services for the citizens of Salisbury at a high level. They also assisted us with going to the fire scene, going to the hospitals, going to the fire scene, and making sure that our members are well taken care of, the families are taken care of, transporting over the family members. Cause of the fire is under investigation. I've already seen on social media somebody said it's gas explosion. That's not confirmed. It's not determined yet. There is an investigation by the Salisbury Police Department, Salisbury Fire Department, North Carolina Fire Marshal's Office, and other agencies, which is normal in this case. This is normal protocol. You have injuries. We certainly have a full force investigation of a high nature. 2 civilians were also transported. At this time, that's all I can tell you. I don't know the conditions, and if I knew, I couldn't tell you. So we do know that 2 were transported. Red Cross was called to the scene to take care of 8 occupants from this house. So I want you to know that we appreciate the local chapter of the Red Cross for taking care of our citizens and taking care of the residents. That's all I got for you.
Chief, were you out there by chance, or?
I responded. I was not there yet when the explosion occurred, but yes, I've been on the fire scene since.
You've talked to your guys at the hospital, I'm assuming.
Yes.
So how did they describe it to you? Did they say, hey, Chief, or can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so I'll quantify it like this. They all said we were doing exactly, and I listened on the radio, they were doing exactly what firefighters do, exactly what our protocols are for a structural fire of that nature. They were on the roof cutting holes, they were dragging hose lines from the front to the back to extinguish the fire, and they were searching for the occupants, because if anybody was left in that smoke-filled house, they wanted to get them out. And just all of a sudden, an explosion occurred. No notice, no warning, it just happened, and that's what they're telling us happened.
How many of your guys, and I don't know if the Spencer guy, were they actually all in the house, the 11, or was it some people got hurt on the outside?
Yeah, you're going to have to let us...
It's early.
Critique and review all that. Some were in and around, and the walls blew out, so it's a brick facade. They blew out, so anybody that was around the house got hit by the facade bricks and wood and that kind of thing. So,
and I'm assuming somebody was living at this house. So
they were living in the house and in the house when the fire first started. So,
Every scene can be dangerous, but how common is a risk of an explosion like this to happen when fighting fire at a home?
Yeah, I won't be able to quantify that. It doesn't happen often, but we know it's a possibility. That's the right. You watch firefighters open up or break windows or open up or cut the roof. That's to let the pressure out, let the smoke out, let the heat out, and that's what they had done. And that's an effort to prevent smoke explosion or another type of explosion. So
today, how large is the department overall? How many folks?
So on duty we had 22 members on duty, so half the shift.
Was there any damage to any surrounding homes?
Yeah, a nearby house did sustain a little bit of fire and heat damage. Yes.
What did you tell your guys when you got to the hospital? What did you say to them?
They really spoke with me first and said, man, I'm good. I'm ready to get back on the fire truck. Can I go back tonight? Right? Mr. Green, the city manager's here. He was also there when I got there. Some city council members were there checking on the members. As I mentioned, our chaplains were there. And most of them just wanted to, one, check on how everybody else was doing. They care about others and their coworkers. They cared about the civilians. They wanted to know how the civilians were. And they said, I'm ready to get back on the truck tonight. And we had to tell them, no, you do what the doctor says do. Just like a firefighter, I would expect any firefighter to do.
Just for clarification, the 2 civilians that you mentioned that were transported to the hospital, were they inside of the house at the time of the fire?
I just can't quantify that or confirm or deny any of that at this point. But thank you for asking.
Chief, any chance, is that the mayor right there?
This is the city manager.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought that might have been the mayor.
The mayor has been in contact with us, has very high concern, has reached out many times, as has many of the council members, but the mayor's not here, nor council members here right now.
How much was the fire contained before the explosion happened?
So we have a radio announcement on the radio when they get water on the fire. That tells us that one of the hose lines, we had 3 hose lines in operation. One of them was getting the fire knocked down. The radio broadcast also told the outside commander told the inside crew, it looks good, you're starting to get a knock. Typical terminology for us, and that's when the explosion happened.
And so was the fire under control at that time?
No, it was not declared under control. It was still a working fire incident.
Chief, I know it's early stages of the investigation. Do we expect this to go throughout the night, and are any of the other residents surrounding areas going to be affected?
So nobody else, that house was displaced, the occupants of that house. The others are not displaced. I won't be able to tell you how long this investigation may go. It could be days or weeks, actually. Salisbury Police Department, Fire Marshal's Office, and the State Fire Marshal's Office and Salisbury Fire Marshals are investigating. They started an investigation on the scene immediately.
When you get that kind of call that so many of your guys are injured, what's going through your head?
Thanks for your asking. What is really the concern for those firefighters and their families. And we immediately go into mode of checking all of them, checking with them face to face. Myself and my staff, we were there checking on them, asking how they were doing, and that's what goes through our mind, checking on our folks and making sure they're okay. Thank you.
Obviously, nothing can be routine all the time. Like, how do you kind of prepare your guys for unexpected situations like this? Obviously, you can't prepare for everything, but how do you kind of prep them as best as you can?
Yeah, thank you. So the preparation is extensive. Our training programs are extensive. I mentioned that we went into Mayday mode, Mayday protocol. That is taught to every rookie school and practiced biannually, to every on-duty in-service fire company. So that the mode is second nature in regards to going into Mayday and checking on everybody, rescuing those that needed rescue, and doing a PAR check, a personal accountability report, so we account for everybody, and that was done very quickly. The incident commander did a great job of orchestrating the radio traffic and the protocol.
Do you have a message to the Salisbury community tonight?
Yeah, I do. I think it's important to know that anybody's house, firefighters are going to go get them, right? We are there to go get them. We have a search mentality, a search culture. And so if there's a fire, if there's a danger, we're going to go get them, even sometimes at some risk. And that's what tonight proved, right? That your firefighters in Salisbury are heroic in my eyes, and they proved it tonight. And so that's the message: is anywhere in Salisbury at any time, these firefighters, male and female, these guys are ready and trained to go do what they do. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. That'll conclude, unless there's just one more question. Okay.
The hospitals you mentioned again, what were the 2 hospitals?
Yeah, Rowan Regional Medical Center and Atrium Northeast in Concord.
So not Novant. Novant was not one of those.
I'm sorry, Rowan Regional Medical Center is a Novant facility.
Okay,
So
right
Novant,
down here.
yes, right down here.
Okay.
Yes, and
Just
then
clarification.
Atrium down in Concord. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you for your concern. All right.
All right, folks, so you just heard it there from Fire Chief Bob Purnell in Salisbury, North Carolina, giving an update on this home explosion from just before 5 o'clock this evening, one which injured several firefighters, and we are now learning a couple of civilians as he described them. So here's kind of what we're seeing. As far as conditions, some good news regarding the firefighters from Salisbury Fire. And we'll just kind of keep in mind, because he mentioned this in the press conference just a moment ago, the 11 firefighters who are injured we're talking about are from Salisbury. From what we understand, there were other agencies, other fire departments that were providing mutual aid from nearby jurisdictions, and there might be other updates that we might be getting about firefighters from them. But he said he can only speak for the 11 Salisbury firefighters who were injured. Non-life-threatening injuries, he says most of the injuries are bruises, concussions, smoke inhalation. He says some of the firefighters have already been released. He does expect all of his firefighters to be released tonight, though. So that kind of does paint that picture of how serious these injuries are, in the sense that they are able to be released tonight. So that gives us kind of an idea of where we stand as far as the severity. He did talk about 2 civilians being transported to the hospital. He said unknown conditions. He said he wouldn't be able to speak on that if he could, but he doesn't have any updates on those folks. Didn't really elaborate either whether they were inside the home in question, or they were nearby, or if they were, somehow in a neighbor's home or something like that. That could be some information that we get shortly. He did say that there was a nearby home that sustained some heat damage, and the State Fire Marshal's office, as well as Salisbury Fire, investigating right now. One of the other points we noticed, which was interesting, because this was actually information that was initially put out by Salisbury Fire itself, the fact that this explosion could have been caused by a gas line, either opening or rupturing, but nevertheless somehow exploding. We heard the fire chief kind of walking that back, saying that they still really need to do some more investigating to figure out exactly what happened. So he didn't seem comfortable, from what we saw with that press conference, in firmly saying that yes, it was a gas line, even though that was one of the initial details that actually came out from the fire department itself shortly after they were able to gather a few details and send out a press release to the media in the area. So we will continue to follow this. As we mentioned, we got that crew there at the scene. They were able to send that feedback to us, and we'll be trying to gather some information and some visuals too of the home in question. If you've been keeping track, this is in what appears to be a residential neighborhood, and impacting potentially, the entire neighborhood, in the sense that you have this home itself that is damaged. You've got a neighbor's home that has some heat damage, and probably a lot of neighbors in the area who are scared and maybe have heard that explosion and wondering what's going on. So we'll keep you updated on the very latest here on Live Impact. James, do you want to take a break? I think we kind of got behind on those, but let's go ahead and do that. We'll be back in 2 minutes with the very latest, and we'll see what new information we can gather in the next couple of minutes. Thanks for sticking with us on Live Impact.